For the first time in more than 7 decades, the U.S. has opened a rare earth mine. Officials say they hope that it will kickstart a new age of American energy independence.
Across parts of the United States, there are streams that no one fishes in, creeks where children are warned to stay away. Water so polluted, it sometimes runs bright orange, red, or yellow. Most people see these places as reminders of past mining and industry. But scientists began to notice something different. When they studied this strange, colorful water, they found valuable minerals hidden in it, rare earth elements that are essential for modern technology. These metals are used in everything from electric cars and smartphones to renewable energy systems and advanced military equipment. Companies like Tesla and Apple depend on them for key components inside their products. If that discovery proves practical, it could change how these metals are sourced and reduce dependence on foreign supply. So what exactly are these hidden minerals in the water? And why might their discovery be causing concern in China? Let's get into it. The hidden minerals coal seams are often surrounded by a mineral called pyrite. It is sometimes called fool's gold because of its shiny metallic look. In solid rock, pyrite is stable and harmless. It can remain locked inside stone for thousands of years without causing any problems. But abandoned coal mines create very different conditions. When mining tunnels are left open or collapse, air begins to move underground. Rainwater and groundwater slowly seep through the rock. Over time, oxygen, water, and pyrite come into contact. When that happens, a slow chemical reaction begins. This reaction does not need machines or drilling. It happens quietly and continuously. Pyrite reacts with oxygen and water and slowly produces sulfuric acid. The process is gradual. It does not happen in a single moment. It unfolds year after year. As the acid forms, it spreads through the surrounding rock. And rock is not chemically inactive. Many metals have been trapped inside that rock for millions of years. First, iron begins to dissolve, then aluminum, and later manganese. Smaller amounts of other metals also start to break free. The acid is not targeting these elements on purpose. It simply weakens the bonds holding them in place. Solid minerals slowly dissolve into liquid form. That acidic water, now carrying dissolved metals, begins to move. It travels through cracks in the rock. It fills old mine tunnels. Eventually, it finds its way to the surface, flowing into nearby creeks and streams. Scientists call this process acid mine drainage. For many years, people believed it was nothing more than dangerous waste. But beneath the surface, something remarkable was happening. The reaction was slowly breaking apart rock, releasing metals, and concentrating materials that had been hidden underground for ages. For decades, the main goal was simply to stop the damage. At polluted sites, engineers capture the acidic water before it reaches rivers. Pumps move the water into treatment facilities built near mine openings or drainage channels. These facilities are not large factories. They are practical systems designed mainly to control acidity. The first step is neutralization. Workers add alkaline materials, usually lime or crushed limestone, to raise the water's pH step by step. When the pH reaches about 4, iron begins to oxidize and form rust-colored particles. These particles grow heavier and slowly sink. Next, the pH is raised again. Between roughly 5.5 and 6.5, aluminum separates from the water. Manganese requires an even higher pH, often close to 8, before it settles out. Each adjustment is done carefully, so different metals separate one after another. After this chemical process, the water flows into settling ponds or tanks. The movement slows, and gravity begins to do the work. Metal particles sink to the bottom, while clearer water stays near the surface. With time, the separation becomes easy to see. Once treated, The water is released back into nearby streams. It is not perfectly clean, but it is stable enough for ecosystems to recover. Yet this entire process leaves something behind. At the bottom of tanks and ponds, thick sludge slowly builds up. This sludge contains iron compounds, aluminum materials, manganese oxides, and other residues formed during treatment. It is dense, heavy, and packed with solids. Workers pump the sludge into containment areas. Sometimes it is stored in large ponds. Other times it is placed inside sealed geotextile tubes, where water slowly drains away. After drying, the material is compacted and stored or buried. For decades, this process repeated across coal regions. Acidic water entered the system. The pH was adjusted. Metals settled out, sludge was removed, and almost no one stopped to ask what other valuable materials might be hiding inside that chemistry. The ignored treasure. Before we talk about the discovery, we need to understand a serious problem that has existed in the United States for many decades. For more than 100 years, coal mines powered the country. They lit cities, ran factories, and helped keep the economy moving. But when the coal was gone, the mines did not simply vanish. Many were abandoned. Slowly, they began to fill with water. Rain moved down through the ground. Underground water flowed through cracked rock and empty tunnels. Over time, these mines became large underground reservoirs. At first, very few people paid attention. Then the water began to change. Inside those abandoned mines, the water slowly became acidic. As it moved through the rock, it started pulling metals from the surrounding stone. When the water finally reached the surface, it no longer looked normal. Across coal regions of the United States, streams began turning bright orange, yellow, and sometimes red. The color mostly came from iron. When acidic water reaches open air, the iron reacts with oxygen and forms rust. That rust coats rocks, plants, and creek beds. Even from a distance, the color can look alarming, but the color was only a warning sign. The water itself was corrosive. In some places, it was strong enough to damage pipes. It could kill fish, insects, and plants by disrupting the oxygen balance in the stream. Because of that, people were told to stay away. No swimming, no fishing, no touching the water. Local residents learned which creeks were dangerous. Children were warned not to play near them. Over time, these places became forgotten corners of the landscape. They were no longer seen as useful resources, only as scars left behind by an older mining industry. To reduce the damage, small treatment systems were eventually built. These were not large industrial plants. They were simple facilities designed to make the water safer before releasing it back into rivers and streams. But the treatment process created another problem. A thick sludge filled with heavy metals began to collect at the bottom of treatment ponds and tanks. For decades, this sludge was treated as worthless waste. It was pumped into storage ponds, dried out, and buried. Almost no one tested it carefully. Almost no one asked what it might contain. In places already known for pollution, the assumption felt obvious. Nothing valuable could possibly come from here. And for many years, no one realized how wrong that assumption might be. What makes this story surprising is not only the science, it is also where the discovery began. While much of the world was searching for new mines and deposits, researchers in the United States found potential value in places that had long been ignored. That is why many experts believe countries like China did not expect this possibility to appear. This discovery will not change the global supply of minerals overnight, but it has already started an important conversation. It reminds us that solutions can sometimes come from places people stopped paying attention to. And it shows that changes in global power or resources do not always happen suddenly. Sometimes they grow slowly, in quiet ways that few notice at first. So the real question may not be just about minerals. It may be about how we look at the world around us. If you liked this video, ensure you give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya.